Happy New Year, everybody! January's starting off with a lot of movies, so let's get right down to it. 2014 kicks off with Open Grave. After waking up in mass graves, a bunch of amnesiacs need to work together to figure out who they are, where they are, and why there's a bunch of zombie-ish psychos roaming around. Which is an experience I think most of us can relate to after New Year's. Next up, the thrills continue with Paranormal Activity. The Marked Ones. After two stinkers in a row, I've lost faith in this once great franchise. Hopefully, this spin-off movie brings some fresh ideas to the table, but I'm not holding my breath. Even the trailer looks just okay. Of course, any movie with creepy little girls is probably worth a shot. Moving on from the horror for a bit, we've got The Legend of Hercules. Good old Hercules. With such a wealth of amazing stories to adapt, naturally this movie doesn't bother with any of them. If the trailer's to be believed, Herc is a prince who gets exiled after his brother takes his girl, then gets sold into slavery only to raise an army, march on his homeland, and get his girl back, all while discovering he's a demigod. I try not to get too judgy about trailers, but this looks like a big hot mess already. You might as well just wait for the next 300 movie. But speaking of gladiators, Raze. Not what most people think of when it comes to girl-on-girl action, Raze follows the women of an involuntary underground fighting ring. Though, in true Spartacus form, I imagine the ringleaders will eventually discover they've bitten off more than they can chew. But these aren't the only violent mommies in January. Next up we have Devil's Due. It may be a movie about a woman giving birth to the Antichrist, but Eli Roth doesn't want people to compare this movie to Rosemary's Baby. Of course, that shouldn't be too difficult, considering I don't remember Rosemary beating the crap out of an SUV. If you're gonna see a movie about a demonic possession this month, I'd wager this one will be better than the new Paranormal Activity. Next up, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. Another reboot of the Tom Clancy universe, Chris Pine plays the latest incarnation of everybody's favorite reluctant spy. Unlike past films, this movie isn't based on any particular Tom Clancy novel and seems to be merely borrowing familiar names. Whether this is a good or bad thing remains to be seen, but hey, Keira Knightley's in it. And if Jack Ryan's a little too serious for you, there's always The Nut Job. A cartoon heist movie starring a bunch of rodents trying to break into a nut store. I'd like to get behind this movie, but if the nut and fart jokes are as prevalent in the film as they are in the trailer, I have a feeling the humor's gonna get stale pretty quick. So if you're looking for a movie that looks to be legitimately funny, I think your best bet is gonna be Ride Along. It's a buddy cop movie, and will no doubt have the same plot all buddy cop movies have, but Ice Cube is fun to watch, and Kevin Hart isn't as annoying as Chris Tucker. And finally, Frankenstein. This movie, I don't even know. I guess if Hercules can be a gladiator general, then Frankenstein can be a superhuman action hero that fights against angel monsters? I just don't know. Well, that's it for January. Which movie are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I think I'm gonna go see The Hobbit again.